okay over there?
Yes.
You seem to be
It was I didn't let the little bowl on this guy cool down before I hit it, and it was hot.
Well, I mean, we all have our crosses to bear.
Yeah, I don't know how I get out of bed with these problems, but I managed to do it.
I know. Well, just before, when you said you had to take Vanessa to the home, he had to take Vanessa home. I realized that our keg was about to pop, and so I had to run out to the store and get a backup case of beer. So I mean,
so there you go. Everything works out in the end.
Because I'm an Eagle Scout.
Yes, exactly. Always be prepared.
Yeah, always be prepared. All right. So anyway, everybody, I am Justin Woods, and welcome to the Woodscast. We are doing our damnedest to make this the dumbest podcast you listen to, killing brain cells in real time.
I'll say this: if you guys, anyone that listens to us, actually decides to reach out and says, "Hey, this is a dumber podcast than yours," I would love to hear it.
Yeah,
I would love to hear what the production quality on that shitberg's like.
Yeah. So with me, as always, hitting the ball is my brother Shay. What's going on, Shay?
Howdy do, y'all.
So we had to take a break last week. Shay was on a pilgrimage to the Mecca that is Huntington, West Virginia. And,
what?
Yeah,
Moneyton.
I had to go home and see all of his friends in Moneyton, and I was in Boston for a conference, which was mostly mind numbing. So we had to take a break. So this week, I guess we're just gonna do a bit of a wrap up, try to hit the highlights of the last 2 weeks, anything that caught our fancy. There is so much shit we could talk about. I mean, anything from only 22,000 jobs created last month to, I do want to bring up Jared Kushner getting his security clearance fucking rammed through for no reason.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much shit to talk about, but we'll hit the highlights. All right, so we are recording this. What's today, Shay? Today is the 10th, March 10th, Sunday, March 10th. Recording this Sunday night because Shay has a D&D party tomorrow night. He's got a fucking.
It's not a D&D party. We're running a D&D campaign. All right, if you're gonna make fun of me, at least get your shit straight.
All right, but you are doing. I thought this was novel. What? How do you get +1 damage, Shay?
Chugging beers. Actually, I think it's technically if you chug beers, you get advantage, which means you simply, if you can pound a whole beer quick enough, you get to roll your dice a second time. If your numbers don't work out, this idea has been tossed around and used in previous games to some success and mostly failure. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I can see that being fun. I can see it being fun. There's a card game named Munchkin, where it's like a little card game where you can, you flip a card and you find a monster and you attack it and kill it and you get a point, and the point is like first person to, 7, whatever you want to play to, wins the game, and you can screw over each other, and it's a fun game. It's a caricature of like D&D. It's like one of the items you can play is the knee pads of influence. So it's this female like orc on her knees. And it's
nice.
Yeah, so like if you play that card, whoever you played against has to give you an item or whatever. It's crass and everything like that.
That's woke as fuck.
Yeah, and it's fun in hell. And but every time we play it, everybody knows that Woods is gonna just get fucking shit faced because I don't play the game enough to really know what's going on. So everybody's like explaining the rules to me, and while they're explaining it, or I'm waiting for my turn, I'm just pounding drinks. So it's like I know that every time we play this game, I'm gonna get lit. But like the last time we played it, Mark's like, well, let's play Munchkin, so I guess Woods can get annihilated. And I'm like, hey, okay.
Hey, man, that is insulting and accurate.
Yeah, like
pass me a beer.
That seems like a shot to me. Anybody else want a rum and coke?
Yeah.
All right, so okay, so like I said, Monday, March 10th, bunch of shit going on. So here are the weekly numbers, Shay. I'm on my 3rd beer. What about you?
Well, I had a housewarming party to go to, so for the day, I'm at like 6 or 7 beers.
All right,
so a few glasses of bourbon, standard Sunday.
Yeah, so we're in the zone for news.
Yeah. I'm in the news zone. That's where I'm at.
All right. We are in the 779th day of the Trump presidency, and this is actually interesting. The Washington Post threw up an article the other day. So in the 773rd day, so 6 days ago, Donald Trump had 9,014 false or untrue claims since he became president. So,
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, those are some good numbers. So, like, they said, they go on further to say that in his first year, he averaged about 6 false or misleading claims a day. In his second year, it was 16.5. And so far in 2019, he's averaging 22 claims a day that are just complete horseshit.
That is fantastic.
That's fantastic. So that's what we're doing with the 779 days of. That number is bigger now.
I assume there's somewhere I can go to look up each individual one. There's got to be.
So the Washington Post has a fact checker that keeps track of this. They seem to be more on it than most people because they update it month to month. PolitiFact has a running total of like Barack Obama and all the presidents, but those numbers seem really off to me. Not only has PolitiFact been shown multiple times to be complete horseshit themselves, but the numbers are like Barack Obama told 73 lies and Donald Trump has told 150. Like, I guess they're like only counting the absolute false things, like they say, not like the half truths that they tell every day.
Yeah, that's kind of why I always like to tell people always keep that in mind with a grain of salt, because like depending on how you're defining something, you can make your list as long as you want. The man's full of shit. It doesn't change anything.
Yeah, no. He is a documented liar. That's the funny thing. All right, so we are in the 271st day of being totally free of any threat from North Korea, and we have to talk. One of the things we're going to have to talk about is the North Korea summit. We are in the 44th day of a working government, and that seems honestly pretty unlikely to go anywhere because, we have a deadline coming up in midsummer. They've got to do the debt ceiling, so they could fuck that all up in record time. So right now, as of February 28th, Donald Trump is sitting at a 43% approval rate with Gallup. You might hear a lot of talk about how like he's going up in the polls lately. That's in one-offs like Rasmussen and shit like that. Like he's going nowhere in Gallup, who checks it regularly. And by comparison, just to prove that I'm right, 538 still has him at 41.8%. Like those numbers aren't going fucking anywhere. I was just asked
what's the lowest he's ever been at?
35. So like he literally stays between 35 and 45% for the last 18, 19 months, whatever it is of his presidency. I guess like 24 months, 25 months now or something like that. Like he doesn't go anywhere. And I've got friends that are talking about how like they really don't see Donald Trump losing the presidency, and all the Dems are like so crazy about everything. And they're like, how do you think the Dems will win it? I'm like, well, he only won about 80,000 votes spread across, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Like, that's not hard to swing the other way. I don't think the Democrats are going to leave that on the table. And also, like, he's not adding anybody with all this horseshit.
No, and I would love, I guarantee you there's, X percentage of those people that voted last time that are like, God damn it, and they're probably not going to get it made, you're still going to have to, get out there and put, pound pavement and talk to people and do the normal campaign thing. But, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it pans out.
Mm-hmm. And like, really, it's hard to shoot that fish in that particular barrel until we have a candidate. Like, right now, there's 16 some candidates. And we haven't talked a lot about the Democratic candidates. And I think we'll hold off on that. Like, I want to get, like, maybe John or somebody else on. Because, to like 3 or 4 liberals to really decide what the Democrats should do. Because that's always what you do.
Exactly. So in that vein, I have heard on a couple of other podcasts, and then in like it's a lot of like people are saying and this and that, but that something has changed that like makes it much more likely, or Joe Biden, is much more likely to be involved now. Somebody's not running. Have you seen any of this? It seems like it's a bunch of scuttlebutt and whatever, but.
Yeah, so that's like later. Like I have that down here at the end of our little thing because I don't think it. But I think what you're talking about is there was a new Iowa poll that came out recently that put Biden at 27% over Bernie Sanders at 25%, and that's basically what it is. Like
okay.
I think you might be hearing people say that if the thing I saw, so right now, so the latest Iowa straw poll from March 3rd to 6th is likely Democratic caucus goers. You got Biden 27, Bernie Sanders 25, Elizabeth Warren is at 9, Kamala Harris at 7, Beto O'Rourke at 5, Cory Booker 3, Amy Klobuchar's at 3, and then nobody else cracks that are running. So the kind of thing is, like, if you saw that poll, there's no reason you should see that poll and then not want to jump in the race.
Yeah.
But then again, like you and I talked about, like, they're both really fucking old.
Yeah. Again, and I've said this, I wouldn't have a problem. Like, Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders to me are a great example of what I like versus what's electable.
Right.
Those two things are not necessarily the same thing. But I would have a problem with a candidate of that age as long as the VP is younger. I mean, that's my big thing, because I just and the VP needs to be badass too, because I don't want some chode as the vice president and then our 80-year-old president kick the bucket the 4th day in office and some wanker take over.
Yeah, and we've talked about that too, like, just between the two of us. There's been a lot of talk or hype or whatever that if Biden would get in, and he said this before, I think. If somebody wants to fact check me, he can. But I think he said before that, he would get in and promise to run as a one-term president. And pick somebody who's younger. So like me personally, I like Kamala Harris. I think she's strong. I think she'd take Donald Trump on and kick his teeth in a debate. So like, I think it'd be great if Joe Biden wants to run. He picks Kamala Harris as a VP. Promises he's only going to run for one term or serve one term, and then he bows out. And Kamala Harris is the VP that runs. I mean, there's an infinite ways of iteration around that you can do. I mean, whatever, but I get you, like a younger VP and some kind of nod to the fact that the old guard needs to be old guard and fuck off for a while.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just one of those things. Like, I honestly think he's. I don't like him as much as others, but I think he could have a real shot at it if he got out there. And the big thing for me is I bet Joe Biden would do really well on stage across from Donald Trump.
Oh yeah.
At least in my opinion he would, because he's got the same kind of swagger, but he's not in the same kind of shit-eating grin, but he's not he's like the not gross version. He's he would do well, but he is so fucking old.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, like, and he's old, but he also brings a lot of baggage with him, because he was in the Senate for 28, 30 years. Something like that. So there are all these old votes that back in the 70s and 80s or whatever that are going to look absolutely barbaric now. Not to mention the fact that he chaired the Anita Hill hearings and basically let them just demolish her for 3 days before. And he's even said that he's like, I fucked that up. Like, I should have pushed back against that, and blah blah blah. I
mean, those are all valid points, but Donald Trump is already the president, and he's got a lot of shit in his past that you would think would make. So, I mean, it's kind of it. I don't know. I don't know if that matters anymore. Like, if he can get on stage and then just be toe to toe with Donald Trump and give him, just look good in the debates, I think that's the big thing. And have decent policies. People know who he is, and they, he'll be boring. He'd be such a boring candidate.
Yeah. Well,
people want that.
Well, he could either be boring or he could have as many gaffes as Donald Trump does, but I don't think anybody can do that. Yeah. But like you and I have said before, like, there isn't a person on the Democratic stage in that primary that I wouldn't vote for over Donald Trump. Like, you would really have to. I mean, for fuck's sake, Kanye West would have to run right now, steal a nomination, and I'd be like, oh, goddamn, I don't know. Oh,
yeah, that's a bad one.
Like, who's the third party candidate?
Yeah, who's that? Oh, Gary Johnson's back. All right,
fantastic. Yeah, fuck these people.
That's Schultz's plan. That's how he's going to run as a third party, and the fucking kids.
Kanye West. All right, so meanwhile, back at the ranch, Dale said to Roy, "Fun stuff. Have you seen Captain Marvel yet?" Nope.
It was almost impossible for me to get tickets unless I didn't look at it until like Wednesday, and they were all sold out.
Yeah. So kind of on that vein. Like, Rachel and I went to go see it yesterday. It was super fun. It's really great. It's already a smash hit. It's 153 million domestic, 455 million globally for just this weekend.
There you go. It's almost like those Marvel movies just print money at this point.
Right. Well, and the funny, like, I saw an article, of course we talked about this before, that they're the incels and Alex Jones wannabes and the men's rights activists have tried to review bomb it on Rotten Tomatoes because it's a social justice warrior movie where the chick has to save the day and all the white men are evil and all this other horseshit that they're projecting into a fucking comic book movie that if it was a white dude, they would be dry humping the shit out of it.
Yeah, they actually Rotten Tomatoes is changing how their review system works because of that exact thing. I don't know the details because I kind of just look at the general score and then I use a cinema score a lot too. But yeah, I don't know what the changes they're making, but it's supposed to be not shitty.
Well, first of all, letting people who are not film critics post a review about a movie that hasn't been released yet is just garbage. Like, if Fred Johnson, the Marvel movie, critique guy from the Washington Post throws one up about a week and a half before, like that guy went to a screening, like that's fine.
Yeah.
But when Billy Bob Thornton or Billy Bob Joe Smith, whatever, from Kentucky throws up a review that says why do you hate white men? Like that guy clearly hasn't seen the movie and he's just listened to way too much Alex Jones.
I haven't seen how it had been like people had been trying to review bomb it, but I know there was an article that was weeks and weeks ago that somebody at the studio had said like we're expecting it's going to come out, we think it's a great movie, it's going to do well, but it's going to get bombed up front by all these jackasses.
Yeah, and so the reviews, that happened like even after the movie had apparently premiered, they had to delete 50,000 reviews that were just basically incels, like all these Christies that won't have sex with me are now heroes. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you, dude?
Yeah, I do. That's
Jesus Christ. It's just again, it's 2019. We can't have anything nice.
Nope.
But so apparently, of course, it's gonna blow the doors off all box office records, and I hope it should. I hope it does because it was a great movie. It's super fun. And
it's also just a cool character that I really don't want to go away. So
she is so without too many spoilers, Captain Marvel is a kind of a new generation heavy hitter in the Marvel universe. You've got your Thors, you've got your Thanos, you've got your Silver Surfers, you've got your Galactus, these people that are basically forces of nature but are still characters, and Marvel has to do a lot. The Hulk, Marvel has to do a lot to try to keep these characters in a bubble of some kind of reality while also making them the juggernauts in their stories. And Captain Marvel is a new one of those. She's fairly new to take her powers and be a new iteration as Carol Danvers. They presented the Skrulls, which is a shape-shifting race of basically refugees. And there's a
they're kind of dicks though, right?
Well, there's a twist in the story where you find out they're not as bad as you think, blah blah blah. But this is actually a good setup for one of my favorite Marvel events, which was Secret Invasion. So in Secret Invasion, the Skrulls spin. So there's this really religious faction of the Skrulls who believe that they've spoken to God, and God said that Earth is their planet. They should inhabit. So they spend decades kidnapping and replacing Marvel superheroes until they actually invade one day, and you find out the Thor that was right beside you fighting with you all those years is really a Skrull.
Okay.
And so they have this throwdown where they're like, oh my God, we don't know who to trust because half the people we thought were the Avengers are Skrulls and all this crazy shit. And it has some of the best lines where finally Thor flies down to Earth, calls this huge lightning bolt in the middle of Central Park. Captain America shows up and he's like, I thought you were dead. And Thor's like, I thought you were dead too. And he's like, yeah, okay. And so then the Skrulls are on one side of Central Park, the Avengers and everybody else is on the other, and they start talking to the Skrull Queen, and she's like, he told us this was our home, and da-da-da-da. And they're like, who's he? Spider-Man's like, who's he? And she's like, God. And Iron Man's like, well, my God has a hammer. And and Thor's just like, Avengers Assemble! I mean, it's so fucking badass. So they're setting that up, and I don't care. I'll kick anybody's grandmother. Anybody's grandmother's ass. I have to make that happen. So it was fun.
I don't know what the what their next phase is supposed to be. I don't know, because after Infinity War, that's
Or
the
Endgame.
Endgame, whatever, which is Infinity War Part 2. I don't know why they're being such dildos about the name. Um, I don't give it. It's Infinity War Part 2. No, I don't know what their
We
next
should
thing
get a
is.
Sharpie and go to the movie theaters. Part 2.
Part 2. I just really, I would love to see them get into the more cosmic Marvel shit.
Yeah.
Like some of that shit is wacky, and that stuff's fun. And they already got to a little bit of it with Guardians of the Galaxy and like the ancients, the Celestials and all that shit. So, are you having some trouble with your windscreen there, buddy?
I don't know. It keeps flipping up in my face. I don't know what's going
Yeah,
on.
obviously this is an audio medium, but the grinding noise you heard probably about 5 minutes ago was Justin fucking with his windscreen and keep popping up and hitting him in the face. But
Anyway.
But anyway, it's I'm excited for it. I'm gonna try to see it this week.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I hope she has I'm assuming she'll have some sort of part to play in Endgame, but we'll see.
Yeah. I think they even say that in like the final credits, like, you know, she will be in Endgame or something. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Okay. A couple other little side notes about Captain Marvel before we move on. There was an article I read today that said, and this is the headline of the article. It says, Captain Marvel turns haters into red mist. I was like, that's pretty good, because like it's just destroying everything at the box office. The other thing is that fans are butthurt. And okay, I guess I don't want to say that because you haven't seen the movie yet, but fans are butthurt about how Fury actually loses his eye. It's actually a really funny part in the show, in the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll leave it at that.
So it happens, and like everybody who has seen Nick Fury, you know, Samuel L. Jackson, they actually rewrote when Marvel kind of rebooted their comic lines. I'd have to say like 10 years ago. They actually rewrote Nick Fury as a black man and basically just made it, you know, Samuel L. Jackson. And you've all seen him, and he's got that eye that's kind of gouged out, and that happens in this movie, and it happens in one of the funniest ways, and people are so butthurt about it, but I think it's just priceless. So
fantastic.
We'll leave it at that.
And just because Captain Marvel reminds me, apparently early buzz for the Shazam movie is pretty good.
Oh yeah. I showed that to speaking of both Captain Marvel and Shazam, I showed Rachel the Captain Marvel. I asked her, like, she was going to watch a Duke game, and I was like, well, while you go do that, I might watch, you know, Captain Marvel. She's like, whoa, I want to see that with you. It's like, no. You were drunk, and you said I was a nerd for seeing that. She goes, no, I want to see that. So we went to go see it together. And then after we saw Captain Marvel, I showed her the trailer for Shazam, and she's like, so when's that come out?
Yeah. Oh, nerd.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So I think one reviewer said, like, I wanted to give this movie a bear hug after, you know, because I dug it so much, you know. So Shazam's getting some good buzz. Netflix has a documentary out now. Jesus Christ, I'm only on my like fifth beer. Netflix has a documentary out about flat earthers. Have you seen this, Shay? It's called Behind the Curve.
No, I have not seen that. I bet. Is it good?
It is fantastic. For the most part,
coming from your the whole flat earth, I'm kind of envious because I don't have your understanding of physics, and I'm just not good at math. So the whole flat earth thing must be another level of fun for you, because where they like make up their own math to explain things.
No, they don't make up their own math. Like the movie is about an hour and 20 minutes, I would say. I watched like half of it while I was making dinner one night, and then like I finished it later after I was done playing video games. And I just, like, you know, made myself a rum and coke and polished off the last, like, you know, 30 minutes. And basically they follow this guy named Mark Sargent, who is the new, like, messiah for flat earth. Like, he didn't really discover anything. He just came across the conspiracy theory that is the fact that the earth is flat. Is a flat disc with an ice wall that holds in all the water. Thought it was interesting. Like, he actually said that he came across it as the last conspiracy theory, because he says he's a conspiracy theorist. It was the last one he came to that he was gonna debunk, but then found out it was true. And all this motherfucker did was post. He called them flat Earth clues. So there's an introductory to flat Earth clues, which is like kind of like a cliff notes to it, and then there's a series of 12 videos on YouTube where he discusses the fact that while he was looking at the flight records, like, you know, those track plane websites.
Yep.
He didn't see any of them go over the Indian Ocean, therefore the Earth is flat. Like, it's the most random fucking evidence you can come up with. I listened to them all in an afternoon doing, like, work at this conference. Like, working on my talk at this conference. I had them in one ear. And it's just like, there's nothing to make you stop. It's not like, whoa, what that guy say? That was... No, it's just fucking gibberish the whole fucking time.
Man.
In this documentary, he talked about what you just said. You know, like, yeah, I have 2 masters in physics. And I'm working on a PhD in physics. I understand gravity and light and coherence and beam length and all the, you know, all that shit way more than any of these fuckers do.
Nerd.
But yeah, nerd. But like this guy stands on like a beach, and he's in Washington, I think. He's like on this beach of a lake, and he says, you know, the scientists throw all this math at us. And I can just show you those buildings across the lake. That's Seattle. Like, if the Earth is curved, I shouldn't be able to see that. And, like, one of my buddies who watched this movie, too, sent me a message. He's like, yeah, numbnuts, but there's more buildings past that you can't see because the fucking Earth's curved. You know? It's like, it's so simple to debunk this stuff. And actually, the best part of this whole documentary is not once, not twice, or actually, I would give them 2. Not once, but twice, they actually prove the Earth is round.
That's great.
Yeah, in the documentary, with their own experiments, they prove the Earth is round. And the experiments are actually very... novel, and they're fun. They're actually pretty sound. These people know nothing about the coherence wavelength of light or how or dispersion or anything, but they just fucked it all up. And they're like, the best one was they talk about how if the Earth rotates 365 degrees every day, then it should be about 15 degrees an hour, right? Well, if you have a gyroscope that you just sit there, it should tilt 15 degrees in an hour. Well, you can't do that with a mechanical one because it'll stop spinning. So they got some numbnuts to give them $20,000 to buy a green, I think it's a green laser gyroscope, the kind that go in commercial airplanes.
Yeah.
And so they turn this fucker on, and oh my God, they detect 15 degrees an hour. And then they go on this absolutely insane rant about how they've got to encase it in silver and bismuth and all these metals that I guess they think sound exotic, but they're like, we've got to isolate it from the Earth's energies. I'm like, you're not making any sense now at all. Like, you're just words.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's funny. Did you see there's that one guy that got a lot of flack because he took the selfie from the top of Mount Everest, and from that spot with the selfie you can see the curvature of the Earth behind him. And there's people that are like attacking him, saying he's like a NASA plant who's sending out misinformation. It's incredible.
Oh yeah. And one of the
like,
funny
no, it's photoshopped.
Yeah. One of the funniest things that apparently this new resurgent in flat Earth shit has started because about 10 years ago, some guy who was an actual artist for, and he's in this documentary. I don't remember his name. Doesn't matter. He's an idiot. But he was an artist for NASA, and everybody's like, why does the artist need NASA? Well, I'm sure they need people to like mock up like, you know, cool like murals about the space station or whatever. You know, I can see that.
That's part of the design process.
Huh?
That's part of the design process. Like,
yeah,
just about anything you're going to build has an artist rendering version of it.
Exactly. You're not going to have some dude with a fucking PhD in math make that shit up. It's going to look retarded. What you need, but this guy apparently was at a cocktail party, and all of NASA was like, "Oh yeah, we never went to the moon. Ha ha ha! You know, the Earth's flat." And so then he started telling everybody. So like that guy is like one end of this whole flat Earth spectrum, and then this Mark Sargent and he actually like organizes people and has conferences. He's the other end. So like you got this one guy that says like nobody should go to that conference because these guys are charlatans and they all work for like. The original NASA artist is saying that the Mark Sargent guy is actually a CIA plant. He's not. That's not really his name, and all. It makes Alex Jones look reasonable.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, you got to watch that. So that's fun. What else we got? Did you watch Cobra Kai on YouTube?
That was the YouTube series about the other guy from Karate Kid, right?
Well, it's basically about Johnny.
He's like the bad guy. Yeah,
being down on his luck, and then restarting Cobra Kai, and Danny LaRusso seeing Cobra Kai resurface and starting Miyagi-Do to like take it back on.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's way better than it should be.
It is. It blew my beard back how fantastic it was. And we just got a trailer for season 2, and I am wrist thick and rock hard to watch that.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't watched it. It's Karate Kid was never one of those ones that I was super into as a kid, but I do like it, and it's just really funny.
Seen that.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just really funny that of all the movies and shit that came out when I was a kid that are getting new properties and sequels, that Karate Kid's the one that has one that's actually good.
Yeah, yeah. It was
like
really. I have to say, like, I don't, not to ruin it for anybody who hasn't listened to it or watch it or Shay, but it is so great in that each character becomes more of the other character.
Yeah.
So like Johnny learns that he's got to teach these kids some respect and some control, and Daniel's like, we gotta fucking kick the shit out of him, and you're like, what the hell? Like, what's going on?
Is it the same guy that played Daniel in the original one?
Oh, they're all the same actors.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's fucking fantastic. I can't wait. Rachel came down one day while I was like watching. She's like, "Are you shitting me?" I was like, "Shut up. This is awesome." Like you can leave or you can be quiet. Those are your two options. Yeah. Okay. Other dumb stuff that I'm following that I know you're following. Did you see the new Brightburn trailer?
I did, and that looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm real excited based solely on the part of the trailer where she pulls the sliver of glass out of her eye.
That was a bit much.
That was uncomfortable, and I hope that's the tone of the entire movie. I really I want it to be. I really, the only thing I'm worried about is that in the end, it's like the power of the mother's love will turn him good or something. But it doesn't seem like that's where they're going with it. So,
well, also, like, what's the other option? Like, how are you gonna rub out a 13-year-old Superman?
Yeah, exactly, and clearly, the kid is gonna. He's at least in the trailer. It looks like they're gonna have him doing some shit that really messes with people hard. So, I don't know. I mean, when is that out? I don't know. That's soonish.
I want to say like April, or I could be making that up.
It is May.
May. That was also one, like, I love these SmartCast apps where you can just throw shit onto your TV. So, like, we're sitting watching TV, and I tell Rachel, like, hey, check this shit out. She watches the whole trailer. She's like, so when's that coming out? Like, yeah, nerd.
Yeah, and I love that the cast is great too. Like, I can't remember the name of the actor that plays the husband, but Elizabeth Banks is fucking solid. It's David Denman, that's him. But it's it's written by the Guns, directed by the guy that directed a bunch of other great shit too. So I'm optimistic for it. It looks cool, and it's very clearly a poke at Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like very specifically that movie. I mean, but the whole superhero thing in general. But like they recreate shots in the trailer that are also from the trailer of Man of Steel.
Yeah, yes. There's a part in the trailer, if you guys remember, like this part where Clark Kent was confronted by a bunch of bullies and he doesn't fight back, and he's leaning against a fence, and when Kevin Costner, who got no credit for being fucking fantastic.
He was great in that. I like Man of Steel. A lot of people don't, but I think it's one of the better DC movies. I enjoyed it a lot.
That scene where you got a grown Clark Kent holding his mother and the other survivors underneath a underpass in Kansas while his dad tells him to not show his powers and save him.
Yeah,
like he stops him, and there's that moment where they look at each other, and you're like, "Oh, goddamn, that's solid." But yeah, so the bullies knock him down. Kevin Costner goes over and helps him up. Looks at the fence and sees that Clark has crushed the fence post behind him with his bare hands, and he goes, you could have fought back, but you didn't. That's great. And in this trailer, the teacher tells a young girl to pick up the young. I don't even think we know his name.
I don't think so.
And
whatever.
Yeah, so she puts out her hand, and he apparently crushes it into a pulp.
Yeah. And then there's I don't know. That one's pretty interesting. Although every time I see I saw a Brightburn 2 trailer, like headline on a movie website, and fucking thought it was a trailer for the sequel to Bright on Netflix, and I'm never going to keep that shit straight.
That was also fun. I
liked it. Yeah, it got a lot of hate, but when it comes to Netflix movies, like I'm just does it entertain me? Yes or no? Because I didn't have to put pants on to watch it, and like, really, all that movie was just a good B movie. Like, it was an expensive B movie because it had a budget of almost 100 million, and that's a lot for a Netflix movie. But I don't know, I liked it. I liked Will Smith in it. He looks horrifying as the genie in the new Aladdin trailers, but other than that, I'm not going to hold that against Will Smith.
Yeah. Bright had the best, like, the fact that orcs were gangsters was like the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Cholo orcs are the best thing ever. Yeah. Like, I love it. It's perfect. It's so fun. I love it.
You got these huge orcs with the LA Rams jerseys on, just fucking tied up.
So good.
And like the one that caught me, the image that caught me was like they're driving through like the ghetto in LA, and it's just like gangs of orcs left and right, and they're all like, okay, and then you can see through the window, you've got this one orc holding up like a Chevy Impala with like two hands, while the other one works on it from underneath. They're just like holding this fucking car up while the other one's like fixing it. Yeah, it's badass. All right, so last but not least, Shay, I don't know if you've heard this or not, but Diablo 1 is now on PC at goodoldgames.com.
What's it running for? I had seen that.
$9.
$9? That's pretty good. I mean, that's a good. Does it have BattleNet or is it just single player? Can you play it online? That's the big thing for me.
Ooh, that's a good question. Hold on. Let me follow this link here. So, I believe. I mean, like they say right off the bat that it's a straight clone.
Yeah, it has multiplayer.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, BattleNet matching.
BattleNet, and then also remember you could do direct IP games too. Yeah, I could kill some time with that. I am unemployed. I mean, what better thing to do than fucking replay Diablo? Oh my god, I'm looking at these screenshots. The fucking nostalgia boner this is giving me.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, and this is one of the treasure troves that has been kind of a. For those of you who do not know what goodoldgames.com is, it's just www.gog.com. And their niche is that they take old games that are either out of copyright or have been given permission to re-up them to Windows 10 and plus,
some newer games, but not a lot. Nothing crazy. A lot of newer indie games and stuff. And
so right now Diablo 1's up, but the Warcrafts are going to be up, the StarCraft, and then I have to imagine.
I will say this: StarCraft has a remastered edition that is pretty cheap and it is badass. Warcraft 1 and 2 do not age well. I actually still have them, and I've played them a little while ago. They don't, just because if you played RTSs a lot, like the genre has gotten a lot more refined since then, and it doesn't now. Warcraft 3 is still big titties. I love that shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2, I played them for about 3 minutes, and then I realized I still had Warcraft 3, and I deleted them and put Warcraft 3 back on. Like, the evolution of that game is very apparent, and there's a reason nobody plays Warcraft 1 and 2 anymore.
Yeah. Speaking of old games that need new versions, Jesus Christ, why do I not have another Heretic or Hexen game? Oh no, Heretic was the first one, then Hexen was Hexen. That was just Beyond Heretic. Okay, so that's the second one. Those were good as shit. And that was, you remember those?
Yeah, there's actual Hexen 2, which is actually a 3D it's actual 3D
yeah, I remember Hexen
FPS,
2. Yeah, no, we had that.
Yeah. Yeah, like there are, I think they're on goodoldgames.com.
They're also on Steam for like fucking $3. Yeah. That might have to be a buy for me, but
I think that's where I got them too. I think that's where I got them. Yeah, because like you just put in Hexen and it gives you all the options. You're like, oh yeah, for $8 I get all this shit.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's take a break before we get to the news, and I'm gonna go get another pitcher. I hope if the keg doesn't pop, and then
Okay. I'll take a leak and get some more beers.
alrighty.
Just checking for my bang.
All right, we're back. And while I think Shay and I could spend the majority of the hour and a half or so we do this podcast talking about movies we like, movies we don't like, video games, and random people who piss us off, you guys tune in for our hard-hitting, in-depth political coverage of the topics of the day.
Wood Daily News.
If anything, we promise to give you probably less facts and more innuendo and personal attacks than most cable news.
That sounds about that is accurate.
Except for Sean Hannity, who is living in his own bubble and apparently calls the president every evening, which is scary as fuck.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Sean Hannity, who is the dumbest person. Actually, he's very happy that Tucker Carlson is on the TV, because if not, he would be the dumbest person on cable by far.
Yeah, about that art. I can't remember the name of the article, the journalist who wrote the article, but that thing about how in bed with Fox News the Trump administration is fucking horrifying, and that would be horrifying if it was any party, any news network. I don't want to, because that's like, now it's like the closest thing we have to state-run media.
Oh, exactly. And remember all the brouhaha that was released when they found out that the DNC might have slipped Hillary Clinton a question or two.
Oh my god, yeah.
They're like, have you watched Sean Hannity at any given time? Like, Sean Hannity comes up and does introductions for Donald Trump at rallies. Like, how is that even fucking in the same ballpark? But,
and not to mention that but it is scary with Fox News, because I mean, I don't like cable news, but at least the other news networks do a much better job of trying to give people good information. Like, Fox News isn't even fucking trying anymore.
Well, Fox News, if you pay attention, and it's a subtle thing, but like, Rachel Maddow is liberal as hell, and I'm not even going to try to like debate otherwise, because she is. Like, she takes a liberal viewpoint on it. She bashes the president because of her liberal viewpoint and how he doesn't align with her liberal political stance. But she doesn't say, like, how are we going to beat the Republicans? She says the Democrats will have a hard time to beat the Republicans on this.
Yeah.
Like, the Democrat. Sean Hannity and Fox News will say, like, we can't let them win. Like, it's a small thing, but it says a lot about how you're thinking about these type of situations.
Yeah, no, it's pretty horrifying. I mean, what I'm really looking forward to is let's be optimistic and say in less than 2 years from now, when Donald Trump isn't president anymore and people aren't underneath him anymore and they start talking, I bet we're gonna find out the Fox News Trump administration connection is way, way, way worse than we know. It'll be one of those things that someone plops out when he's not in power that's gonna be real shitty.
I agree, but I don't honestly understand, Shay, how it could be worse than it is now, because Sean
that's me neither. Yeah. Like, but still,
Sean Hannity admits to calling the president after his show each weeknight. Like,
yeah. Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like it's, I don't know. You're gonna find out that it goes way further back than that. I don't know. We think it can't get worse, so it absolutely can get worse.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's us for being cucks, thinking it can't be any worse. All right, so big topic on the agenda, and this is something Shay and I paid attention to, because we have our North Korea U.S. summit coins that bring us luck and good fortune for the rest of the centuries. We have the what I have called the Summit 2 Dark Territory. Went tits right up.
That's right. I had forgotten all about that.
Yeah. So here's a little, like as this was going on, like, and I was at a conference and preparing for a conference, but I would still bring up this little Word document I keep on my laptop, and I put a little footnotes in here. So Fox News Wednesday, February 27th. So it was a Wednesday. Trump had arrived in Singapore the night before, and Wednesday was the first time he was going to meet with Kim Jong-un in North Korea to resume nuclear talks. Let's not forget that Trump escalated the tensions between North Korea before he took credit for reducing them. Remember the?
That is accurate.
Yeah, remember the my butt's bigger and it works and all this stuff.
And I'll totally destroy and
Yeah,
all that shit. Yeah, I remember that.
this is actually the North Korean talks and Trump's posturing is in a very unilateral way the creation of the QAnon conspiracy movement, because remember he stood there and said this is the calm before the storm with all of his military
What
advisors.
does that mean? Holy shit, did you see that QAnon book is being pushed by Amazon at their top seller list?
Yes. Okay. So
I mean, it's an algorithm. There's not a guy flipping a switch, but still.
Well, so just a quick aside for those of you who are not into the fucking red pilled,
You motherfuckers ain't woke. You don't know what's going on.
Yeah, if you're not woke as fuck like Shay and I, you don't know that the QAnon conspiracy theory that Donald Trump is in league with the military-industrial complex to arrest all the Democrats who are in a global sex trafficking ring / devil worship cult, whatever.
Yeah, there's a bit in there about Hillary Clinton literally eating babies.
Right, so that's a thing. And those people actually wrote a book, and the author is Where We Go One, We Go All, which I have to write down or I'll fuck it up. So it's WWG1WGA, Where We Go One, We Go All, which is QAnon's. So the author of this book on Amazon is Where We Go One, Where We Go All. Just, that acronym I just read you. It is rocketing up the charts on Amazon, and it has last time I checked, it had 100 reviews. They were all 5-star, and it was all about how this is awakening America. So if you think that's not fucking rigged,
yeah, 100. Let's see here. Yeah, okay,
now,
so
I tried so hard not to give those dumb fucks $14 so I could see this book.
Oh my god, there's no way I'm paying for it.
But what I will do is wait till it goes until they produce a Kindle edition, because then that will be a PDF on the internet in
That
seconds.
I can just borrow.
There you go. Speaking of which, Shay, the Mark Sargent from the Flat Earth guys, he has a book called Flat Earth Clues. I have found it on the interwebs, and I will send it to you if you would like.
Yeah. Okay, so now it's got a couple of 3-star and a couple of 1-stars. And the 1-star one is literally the dumbest thing on the internet. And then there's a bunch of shit, but there's also a lot of stuff in here that's saying this is garbage because it misrepresents the glorious awakening of QAnon. It's this is amazing.
Shay and I will loop back on QAnon in some other podcast. We talked about it before. We don't even fucking do it now. But this North Korea summit was one of the kickoff points for the QAnon people, because Donald Trump said, "Well, this might be the calm before the storm," meaning he might fuck with North Korea. So just a reminder that he escalated these tensions, because remember everybody was fucking worried we're gonna start shooting North Korea was gonna start shooting missiles and we'd bomb the absolute fuck out of them, and there was a lot of tension. So he raised his tension before he claimed credit for lowering it. And so on the February 27th, that's a Wednesday, Sean Hannity was basically wet for Trump's genius negotiation style. He could not talk about how smart Trump was for doing this. Senator Lindsey Graham said, and this is a direct quote, "This is our last best chance for peace. There's no going back to the status quo." So that was Wednesday. Thursday, tits up. Donald Trump walked away from negotiations in the middle of the day. He said it was because North Korea required all sanctions be lifted in response that they dismantle their largest nuclear processing site. North Korea comes back and said that was not true. They offered for some of the sanctions to be lifted. Actually, the ones since 2016, I believe, if I'm getting that right, to be lifted. In exchange for them dismantling their that one main nuclear site. So Donald Trump's a liar. North Korea and Kim Jong-un, big liars. Our intelligence agencies weighed in and sided with fucking North Korea on this and said that was not the deal. So Trump walked away from this deal because he thought he was going to get a shitty deal. He was very likely distracted by Cohen calling him a racist and a liar.
That's testimony. Probably true.
Yeah. So he was probably distracted by the Cohen testimony. But I actually, and I've said this on Facebook, I have to give Donald Trump kudos for walking away from a deal that everybody on the fucking planet knew he wanted to sign just for a win. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, there's nothing. I got no problem with that. No, and I have no problem with the fact that it went tits up because he didn't come home and tell me the problem was solved. And I've said this before. Like the first, I would have no problem. I really wouldn't have a problem with the first summit if all they said was, "Hey, I met with him. We've discussed some stuff. There's a lot to work out. We're going to meet again." I'd say it was productive, but there's a long road to go down. One of those stupid bullshit answers, that'd have been fine. But he came home and said that I was safe, and that's not true. And then in this one, at least he did. He just walked away and was like, "It was a shit deal. I'm not doing it."
Right.
Yeah, which is fine. And they didn't make coins again either.
That's great. Well, and the thing is like Donald Trump is not a details guy.
No, never has.
Yeah, so there was a guy on MSNBC, a North Korean expert, I forget his name. He said he nailed it. Like he basically it was almost as if he was in my brain talking through my mouth, and he says, what do you think is more likely? That Donald Trump is going to go here, sign some bullshit deal, and say everything is the best deal that's ever been signed ever, or he's going to sign a kind of a piecemeal deal and then spend the next 2 or 3 years working in a very grinding and methodical manner to make sure all the deadlines are met and all the just do the due diligence and as soon as you pose the question like that, you know exactly what's going to happen. Like that if he had any chance to sign the deal and be like, "Hey, I fucking win," he would have. He's not going to do due diligence.
No.
So kudos to Donald Trump for walking away when he saw a shit deal. A lot of people say that this is basically the best deal he was going to get. So that's why I kind of think that he was distracted by the Cohen testimony more than he wants to admit. And as of about a week ago, new satellite images show that facility that they were talking about has shown renewed activity, and they have also started to re-up and put into working order a rocket facility. And as of about 2 minutes before we did this podcast, the Hill reports that North Korea is very likely to launch another missile soon, within the next week or so, based on what they have prepped in this launch facility. See,
now that is such a problem on so many levels, but it really shows that in my opinion, it just really shows they're dicking with him. And they're dicking.
Right.
You could say dicking with us, dicking with America, whatever, but you know what I mean. Like, they had 2 summits, it was all bullshit, and now they're going to test another nuke. Like, it's like, really, what do we, this is not good. The situation is not getting better. Let's put it that way.
Well, and in this
if they test.
In this Hill, we got to wait for it. And you and I both talked about this. Like, we think this is hilarious because we got these summit coins that show Donald Trump's 3 chins. But, one of the big things that has been a feather in his cap is that since these talks started, North Korea has not tested a missile. So that's the one thing they always point to,
and that is a good thing.
Oh, yeah, it's totally a good thing. And we've said since the beginning, hey, if Donald Trump pulls this shit off and takes all their nuclear weapons, that'll be fantastic. We just don't see it happening.
Yeah.
And no matter how much Donald Trump tells us it happens, it clearly isn't fucking happening. So I've always thought that, Kim Jong-un, whenever talks would go sideways, he would just pop off a missile and be like, "Yeah, see, look, I still got that button. It still works." Yeah, he might not be able to hit Chicago from where he is, but, he's a problem. And just for the record, Donald Trump isn't the shittiest negotiator ever. He might be. I don't want to throw that out there as a carte blanche, but he's not the shittiest negotiator ever because of North Korea. Because by my math, he's the 13th president that's been lied to by the Kim Jong-un's grandfather, his father, and him have all tried this fucking ploy. And this time it actually fucking worked, though. He did get to sit down with the sitting president, the POTUS.
Yeah, it's again, and it's one of those things where it's like there's so many times that Donald Trump, the intent of what he wants to do, the thing he's trying to accomplish, I don't disagree with, but then he just goes about the absolute stupidest way possible to do it.
Right.
I'm not saying that the president of the United States shouldn't sit down with the leader of North Korea, but that's one of those things. You should, we'll talk to you, but there's some preconditions and things like that, and then don't come back and tell me it's all solved. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. Yep. So I guess we're on missile watch. And,
yes. Missile Watch 2019.
Missile Watch 2019, and I think we just came up with our episode title.
There you go, bam.
And all right, so next, this might be more or less nonsense than the North Korea summit.
Yeah.
Alex Jones went back on Joe Rogan. Did you catch this?
No.
You
I
didn't
did
see any
not.
of this?
No, I have not seen any of that.
All right, so since we have done a podcast, Alex Jones went on Joe Rogan's podcast. Just a little background for those of you who haven't been paying attention to Alex Jones like I do daily, because he is a 3-hour comedy skit that does not know it's a 3-hour comedy skit.
Yep.
So a while ago, Joe Rogan had on Tim Cook, who is the head of Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. And so he had on the head of Twitter, and Joe Rogan asked him straight up, like, why did you ban Alex Jones? And did I fuck that name up? Is it Tim Cook?
The head of Twitter?
Yeah. CEO of Twitter.
It is Jack Dorsey.
Jack Dorsey
is the Twitter CEO.
I was fucking with, I was thinking about like the Apple CEO and Donald Trump calling him Tim Apple.
Yeah, that's good. No, that was I think I get the ass you were saying.
Yeah.
So
I'm getting my idiocy crossed.
You're getting your tech millionaires mixed up. It's hard. Tech millionaires and billionaires.
So Dorsey, right? What'd you say?
Yeah, Jack Dorsey is the guy that is sued. Yeah, but he was on Joe Rogan.
Yeah, so Joe Rogan had on Jack Dorsey, and he asked Jack Dorsey straight up, "Why did you ban Alex Jones?" And Dorsey had a really shit answer. He's like, "Well, it was several things. I'm not really privy to all the things."
Yeah.
Whatever. And like, if you're gonna go on a show like Rogan, and actually,
you have to know that question.
Well, actually, even before that, if you're gonna ban a person as notorious as Alex Jones, you gotta have that right in the holster.
Yeah, you got. I would imagine you should have something like that written up, like as part of the discussion. Is like, this is why I did it. Like there should be something he like, and you know that somewhere there's something he signed that says why, but he should fucking know that. That's hilarious. Yeah. What was Rogan's reaction?
Well, he was like, "Oh, come on now! Like Alex Jones is a big kind of he's a big platform. Like you just can't yank that out from under him without some really good reasons." And like Dorsey didn't have any good reasons, and of course that fed right into Alex Jones's "the globalist lizards are taking my free speech away" kind of thing. Like, and so Alex Jones spent about 2 weeks just fucking raging on the fact that Joe Rogan has sold out. Joe Rogan didn't defend him. Joe Rogan is, blah, blah, blah. And, and just kept talking about how Joe Rogan had sold out to make all the money, and that, hey, everybody who's listening, they offered me Glenn Beck's jobs back in the day. Like, they didn't want Glenn Beck on Fox News. They wanted me on Fox News. But since I didn't take it, Glenn Beck took it. All this horse shit that there's no up or down proof of. So, after weeks of just railing on Joe Rogan, Alex Jones went back on Joe Rogan's show, and this is what cracks me up. He went back on Joe Rogan's show to quote unquote get his side of the story out.
Yeah.
As if Alex Jones doesn't have 20 plus hours of fucking airtime.
Yeah. Well, I know it's not like you've got it's a major website that gets millions of hits.
And not only that, it's like he's on. I would say several hundred syndicated radio shows.
Oh
like
yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, like a lot of places, like he does a 4-hour show every day, and he will pop into other people's shows on his network throughout the week. And so it's 4 hours Monday through Friday, 2 hours on Sunday, and then he's popping in and out all the time. Like it's not like Alex Jones doesn't have a goddamn platform. So what they said was that they had a long conversation on the phone before he had him on, and they'd made up, and he wanted Jones on to get his side of the story out. So A, what the fuck ever. B, that's bullshit. This was just a huge ratings grab, and that's fine. Because Rogan's thing is to have a podcast so he can get listeners.
Yeah.
Like, Alex Jones is a big ratings grab.
No, I've never understood it. Are Alex Jones and him like buddies, or do they just have those famous interviews?
They are apparently friends off air too. They go out and they hang out. But since Jones will say the most repugnant shit on air and the most crazy shit on air, Rogan says he can't have him on a lot.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, is that Rogan is such a softball interviewer that it was basically just 4 hours, approximately 4 hours and 20 minutes of InfoWars. Like, I listened to the entire goddamn thing, and it was nothing but gibberish. It was literally nothing but gibberish, because Rogan doesn't push back on things he should push back on.
Well, let's also be honest here. Rogan is not, I mean, at least my understanding is he is not portraying himself as some sort of journalist.
You're
if anything,
exactly right.
If anything, he's a fucking comedian and a fucking UFC fight commentator. Like, that guy is not a journalist. It is not his job, nor do I expect him to ask the hard-hitting questions of Alex Jones. What I expect him to do is bait Alex Jones into saying some funny-ass shit. Like the last time. Yeah, exactly. That's fine. And, there's also the argument of a lot of what you see of Alex Jones as a character, and I bet he's probably quite a bit different if you're a buddy and you just go grab a beer with him.
Well, that's what Rogan was saying. He's like, listen, I talk to you, we hang out. You're not, like, everybody is an amped up version of themselves. Like, the new funny thing, this is kind of a side note, the new funny thing, do you know who Mad Cow Mullins is?
No, I do not.
Man Cow Mullins is a Chicago radio host who's just super fucking misogynist and just kind of a jackass. Like, that's his thing. He's like, that's his shtick, like, I'm a man's man,
Yeah, I get it.
And like he and Jones had apparently been friends for years, and this Man Cow Mullins guy, like, he apparently, like, his radio station had, like, changed formats to a less, like, caustic, kind of narrative. And so he bolted, and then he got a new spot now. He's just recently come back, so he's been on Jones's show. Jones been on his show. Like, they're going back and forth because, their basic theme is, like, women should do what, people with cocks tell them to do.
Yeah.
And, like, they just say, like, the most egregious shit on air, and they just play it off as like, hey, we're just like shooting the shit here, like, we're just shooting the shit. And like Rogan just shoots the shit with people, but he just lets people like, Rogan is interesting. Rogan's podcast is interesting in my mind because it's so accessible by so many people.
Yep.
Like, if you are a policy wonk, you don't really give a shit about Joe Rogan and what he has to say about anything, because he doesn't have any fucking background to really talk about any of this with any fucking expertise. But the people he has on the show are going to say some interesting shit. Now, if you're a guy who's dressed head to toe in affliction gear or tap out gear, you probably think Joe Rogan's pretty awesome because he's a fighter and a comedian. And the people he has on the show, you may learn some shit from, because these are like some pretty heady stuff. But the problem is he puts on these like soft fucking right wing neo-Nazi fuckers, and he doesn't push back at all. Like, he's got Jordan Peterson on there going like, well, the trans people are they're fucking a problem, because they make me call them sir when they're clearly a bitch. And he's like, well, maybe you should, like, just kind of be polite. And he's like, well, I'm not gonna do it because I'm a white male and everybody's fucking with my status, It's an issue.
Like, it's an issue. But again, if you're going to Joe Rogan for your hard hitting stuff, you're fucking
That's totally me putting a journalistic standard on Joe Rogan.
I honestly, to be fair, I don't honestly know what his political leanings are. He could be that kind of conservative. I don't know.
He's pretty libertarian. He's pretty like.
He's an okay. Like, I'm into UFC. I like that. He's an okay commentator. He's a very okay comedian. His stat real hit or miss. I don't know. That just doesn't. I guess it just doesn't bother me, because if you tell me that, I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. It's Joe Rogan. Like,
oh yeah, well, I totally get that. That is me putting a journalistic standard on Joe Rogan. It doesn't deserve to be put there.
Now, if he ever starts claiming he's a journalist, fuck him, fuck his balls.
Well, no, but here's the thing. Like, Alex Jones is a whirlwind of horse shit, and whenever you try to call him out, he will split hairs until infinitum, until you just can't, like, nail him down. Like, one of the things he said on Joe Rogan's show just, like, made me stop, rewind it, and listen to it again, was he said, like, listen, Satanists have been trying to convert me since I was 13. Like, when I was 13, there was this girl, she was a senior in high school. She used to pick me up in her Mercedes-Benz, take me to her mansion, and then we would have sex. And then when I was leaving, her dad would say, hey, do you like having sex with my daughter? Because I have sex with her too. When you're in the cult, you can have all the tail you want. And he was like, oh, I don't know about this. I love Jesus, so I ran away. I'm like, there isn't a fucking thing that Alex Jones said in that 3 minutes that was true. At all.
No,
Period.
no, no, absolutely, no, no. He's full of shit. He's full of shit, and
Rogan's response was, "Man, that's insane."
yeah, stuff like that is kind of why I don't listen to his podcast, because I
Yeah.
know it's going to make me not be able to enjoy his commentary when I'm watching UFC. So I kind of avoid it, because I've heard clips of him doing stuff like that before, and it's always a bummer. But then that's me, that's me, projecting what I want his views to be onto him, and then that's.
Well, you don't have to That's one of those. It would be absolutely impossible to prove that negative on Alex Jones. But if you try to nail Alex Jones on where the mansion was, who the girl was, and whatever, he would split hairs infinitum until you had to actually till the power was cut off.
Yeah.
But what you say in that point of view is not like, oh man, that's insane. You go, yeah, what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
Like,
if you say so, you crazy fucker.
Yeah.
Something you've got to. He could. There's a way he could make a joke of it and not, enable him as much. But
yeah. Like you could be very casual and be like, yeah, that's a great story. But anyway, back to reality.
Yep.
You can make a joke, and that's my point that's my problem, is that basically Alex Jones turned the Joe Rogan podcast and that platform, which has hundreds of millions of views, into an extra 4 hours and 20 minutes of InfoWars with fucking no pushback whatsoever.
Yeah, and that's shitty. That's shitty.
It was shitty. All right, so that was fun. Honestly, you need to listen to it, or at least do it in spurts, because it wears on you.
I don't think I could.
Yeah, speaking of things that wears on you, did you catch any of Donald Trump's 2 hours at CPAC?
Jesus Christ! I tried. I really fucking did. I never watch it, and this is even true for Obama. I never watch presidential speeches the day of. I tend to watch it the next day.
Hold on, pause. Obama never spoke at CPAC.
Well, any presidential speech, any president giving a speech. That's what I'm saying. Like, I never tune into presidential speeches, because I'd rather just watch it the next day. I usually do that, or it happens and I fucking miss it. So but this one particular time the president was talking, I tried, because I knew it would be hilarious. And it turned out that yes, unfortunately, it was the crazy Donnie that I had hoped it would be. He's all sweaty.
Chapo's Trap House kept calling him their big wet boy.
Yeah, their big white boy. He was all over the place and rambling and all these stories that just didn't go anywhere. I think collectively I've watched about the first hour. I don't think I'll ever be able to watch all of it, but the internet has broken down the most interesting points for me, which is, I'm fine with that. And something like this, it was fucking ridiculous. Like, that shit was brutal. And it's like, he gave that great speech, and then he went on to sign some Bibles and some titties.
Yeah, it was really first of all, let's back up. For those of you listening that aren't familiar what CPAC is, that is the Conservative Political Action Conference.
Yeah.
For the last umpteen million years, it's been where conservative Republicans, mostly evangelical Christian leaning conservative Republicans, have gone to get together and kind of come up with their rally cry for the not the social, is it the oh man, they lost it, not the political war, the social war. What am I talking about here, Shay?
Class war?
No, not the class war. They lost
They
basically lost the social wars that they've been raging. So this is where, that's not the phrase though. But anyway, they usually go there and talk about how they're for abortion, they're pro no taxes, they're anti-union. So this is the war that they thought they were basically the social wars. They thought this is where they fought them. So in 2015, 2016, this was supposed to be where the conservatives came to get with their talking points and rallying cries, and they were so anti-Trump. Like, people said they would walk out if Donald Trump spoke again in 2016 because he was so just out of bounds. And now here we are in 2019, and the entire place is pro-Trump so much that speakers included Charlie Kirk, who is Turning Point USA's founder. That's a conservative group to combat conservatives being discriminated against on campus or whatever. He's funded by Foster Freeze. That's not grassroots. You got Candace Owens.
There's also, and I just got to throw this out there because I've heard of this group before and I keep forgetting to mention it. There is a conservative action group called, it's like the CO2 Alliance or some shit.
What the hell is that?
It is literally a group of people that are the opposite of climate change. They're saying that CO2 in the atmosphere is a good thing, and that we should, and they like to proselytize the benefits of pumping CO2 into the atmosphere. And those are the kind of people that go to CPAC now. I just want to throw that out there.
Oh yeah. Shay's exactly right. It's all anti-climate change. It's all anti-choice. It's all anti-union.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Diamond and Silk spoke. Do you know who that is?
Yeah,
oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's those motherfuckers. That's that biggest false equivalency bullshit. I listened to their speech. Like, I looked it up because I heard they that is one part. I was like, oh, I got to see this shit. And that makes me so mad. And it really put a finger on something that's been bugging me that I hadn't really realized. I've never heard a conservative person talk about abortion the way they did. The way they say it in terms of, like, that Democrats advocate for abortion, like you would advocate civil rights. So the false equivalency of I think a woman should be able to choose what she wants to do is not advocating abortion. Advocating abortion is me convincing you to have an abortion, which is a whole different thing. And that shit makes me so fucking mad.
Oh yeah, Diamond and Silk are YouTube celebrities who attached their wagon to Donald Trump back during the election and
have. Do you think it's a bit? Do you think it's a bit, or do you think they're really?
I hope it's a bit.
I do, because they're super dumb. But I mean, it may not be a bit out. Yeah, I don't know.
They're super dumb. For those of you who haven't heard or seen Diamond and Silk are two, I'd say middle-aged women, black women, middle-aged black women who are always done up to the nines with their nails and their hair done they're always very presentable.
Sure, like it.
They're playing a very good character of a African American women in their later, I would say later years, but they're middle age, and I mean they're probably like fucking 5-10 years older than we are.
Yeah.
But they came on the scene as just unabashed supporters of Donald Trump during the 2015-2016 election cycle, and they became just like rock stars, like Charlie Kirk, who started Turning Points USA. Their people wore diapers to apparently try to own the libs, but they were standing on a college campus wearing diapers. Candace Owens, who is like the number 2 or number 3 at Turning Point USA, she recently said that, Hitler kind of had the right idea with making his country great again. He just fucked up when he tried to make the rest of Europe great again. Meaning that if he just killed all the Jews in Germany, it'd been okay. She really didn't have a good, kind of out with that logic. She is a young, very attractive African American woman who was brought on to Turning Point USA after they had a really bad problem with their internal messaging, where everybody was like, they actually had to send out messages to say, "Hey, can we not make fun of the Jews just because?"
Yeah.
Like, it was super racist and super anti-Semitic in their internal messaging, so they had to bring on Candace Owens. So now she's a rock star. You've got, as Shay said, Diamond and Silk, which are YouTube celebrities. You've got Sebastian Gorka.
Oh my God, dude!
Dr. Sebastian Gorka said they were going to take away our hamburgers. Sebastian Gorka has a PhD from Fuck Nowhere University. His PhD committee had no doctors in it. Shay and I could round up smarter people and give you a PhD tomorrow if you would like. And final, but not to gloss over this dipshit. Have you heard about this walk away guy? He's like Okay, so it's a movement. It's called Walk Away.
I have consumed a lot of alcohol in the last 2 weeks, so if it was big in the last 2 weeks, I might have slipped by me.
Oh no, this has been a while.
Okay, I missed it then. Lay it on me. Drop me some knowledge bombs.
So, Walk Away movement is okay. So it's a walk away campaign. It was a walk away campaign. It's basically, it's one of those things that they say that The Republicans are really the ones that are for free speech. The Democrats are ones that are against free speech. And so we should all walk away from the Democratic Party because while they say they support, human rights and civil rights and gay people, they really don't. But the Republicans really apparently do. So this dipshit, Brandon Straka, failed. He's a middling to failed actor that lives in New York City. He started the hashtag walkaway movement, which is a walkaway campaign to tell people that, hey, listen, you don't have to be a Democrat. You can just do it. You can just walk away and be a Republican, be a conservative, and we'll accept you.
That shows such a disconnect with what the public thinks of Republicans in general. That's so fucking funny.
Well, what this guy has done is he has started this campaign and earned himself about $300,000 to do what with nobody can fucking figure out.
That sounds about right.
But during but in like the last 48 hours or so, he likes to hashtag walk away is basically his brand. So he just promotes it and everything and just, I guess, hopes people send him money. So it's the stupidest fucking thing. So he went up there and talked and shit. Sam Cedar went on his show. So he apparently has a YouTube show. Sam Cedar went on there and literally took him apart piece by piece. He would say something, Sam Cedar would be like, I don't think you have a citation for that because I'm almost positive that's not true.
That is not true.
Yeah. And this guy would sputter around. He's like, so still no citation. Okay, cool. That's what I thought. Yeah. So these are the people that spoke at CPAC. It's an absolute clusterfuck of conservative right wing ideology, but no actual conservative thought. That's the thing. It's not about teaching conservatives how to be conservatives. It's about teaching conservatives how to maybe get yourself confronted on a college campus.
Yeah.
And film it so that you go viral.
It seems like now it's all about how to become a famous conservative personality that can make money.
Exactly. And in that environment, Donald Trump spoke for 2 hours and 40 minutes. And it was everything Shay just said. He dry humped the American flag for about 20 solid seconds.
That was so fucking weird.
Yeah.
Man, that shit was I'm not, it's just fucking weird. I don't expect politicians to act perfect all the time, but that's just clearly fucking weird. You just wouldn't do that. It's so fucking weird.
Well, and he looked like an adult toddler.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, for those of you who have not seen the video, you should. You can see the whole 2 hours and 40 minutes or 2 hours. I think it's 2 or 20 something like that. It was almost 2.5 hours.
Brutal long.
But you can see the whole thing. He comes out to proud to be an American. So that's just blaring. He comes out to proud to be American. He's giving the fists up. He's giving the shaking fist because he's a fighter. He's a fat 72-year-old man who has never punched anybody in his life.
Yeah.
But he comes out shaking his fist, waving and pointing at everybody. Then he walks over to the closest American flag, and there are fucking dozens of them on the stage, of course. And he wraps it in his arms and
it's
rocks
just
back
this
and
creepy
forth.
hug.
Yeah, yeah. If your grandmother gave you that hug, or a distant aunt, you'd be like, "Get the fuck off me."
Yeah.
And he just does that to the American flag, and then he goes out. And for those of you who would like to listen to his entire speech, and I recommend it because it will give you an insight into how absolutely dumb our sitting post is. He clearly had so Matt Schlapp is the head of CPAC. Matt Schlapp loves Donald Trump. It's not going to tell him what he can and can't do. So Matt Schlapp just said, go out there, be you. Everybody will love it. So I'm going to slip into the nomenclature of Chapo's Trap House here. All the oinkers just oinked away. They loved it.
Oh,
so
yeah, I bet.
Yeah, Donald Trump comes out. And so what he did is he had a speech in the teleprompter. And I don't know who was running the teleprompter, but I'm sure they were bored as fuck. Because Donald Trump would read one line off the teleprompter and then go into the absolute goddamn atmosphere with he's like, you know what? our tariffs are bad. But anyway, Robert Mueller is an absolute communist bastard.
Oh,
you know what we
so
should do?
weird.
What we should do? We should actually, if North Korea would just play ball, I would have solved this problem. You know what? Hillary Clinton has a bunch of emails we haven't seen. You know the Democrats are fucking pedophiles, right? Anyway, tariffs are too high. Like, it was this weird, like, back and forth where you would see him...
It was just like a bizarre stream of consciousness. Like, yeah, it was not good. It was very, very strange.
One of the things that struck me is he talked about wind energy, because apparently Donald Trump, who is apparently surgically attached to an iPhone, doesn't understand how lithium-ion batteries work or other large storage grids. And he says, they love to nail on the just like talking points and phrases. There's just no substance to it. So he says the Democrats' New Deal, they want to take away your cars, your planes, and your all your energy.
I keep hearing this shit, and like every time I hear it, I go, okay, cool. Can you point to me in the text where it says they're taking away cars and planes? Oh, you can't because it doesn't say that. All right, great.
Right. Oh, what does it say? It might say something about we should upgrade cars and planes so they're more efficient.
It's something like that. Yeah, it's something about making things better than they are. That's all. It's vague too. I even remember reading it and thinking that's what everybody's butthurt about. Jesus Christ.
If that's what everybody's butthurt about, make me president. I'll do it in fucking 2 years. I'll just ram it through.
Done.
Yeah.
We'll declare a national emergency and say climate change is an emergency, and we'll just ram that shit through.
Huh. And I don't know, Shay. There might be a precedent for that now. But so he talked about this wind. He's like, oh, they want to do wind energy, and here I am. I'm like, honey, is the wind blowing? I'd like to watch TV. And like the whole crowd erupted, and I'm like, you fucking Animal Farm.
If you want to tell me if like it's hard for me to stay respectful and say the conservatives aren't fucking dipshits when you see shit like that. Like, I understand that the people going to see, but I mean, I get it. The people going to CPAC are the most fanatic motherfuckers. These are the people that no matter what he does, like these are the 35% of his base that he's never going to lose. Like these are the people that fucking love him. He's a celebrity there. It's like me going to a Star Trek convention and seeing Patrick Stewart give a speech. That's basically what it's the equivalent of.
And let's be very clear before we move on. Shay and I would fangirl the fuck out of that.
Yes, I would love that shit, but that's not like
that's not gonna kneecap our economy and our environment for the next 10 years.
And it's not fair for me to like judge the entire conservative ideology by what I see at CPAC, but at the same time, it kinda is. And y'all can go fuck yourselves right in your poopers, because the idea that people are cheering for that wind energy joke just shows a fundamental either lack. I mean, they either just don't get it, or they're really gonna cheer for literally anything he says, no matter how stupid it is. Because like that, that was so fucking frustrating.
Well, Shay has a great point there. And what we do a lot on this podcast is just fucking dunk on the conservative mentality, because it's so easy. But there are a lot of conservative friends that I have that will send me a message and be like, oh my God, can you believe Trump's doing this? It's so stupid. Like, yes, there are dissenters from people who have voted from Trump that they don't agree with everything that he's proposing. And of course, like I didn't agree with, and Shay, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm sure you didn't agree with everything Barack Obama did.
No, absolutely not.
But yeah, like we murdered so many people with drones that.
And I guarantee you, whatever Democratic president comes up next, I'm probably not going to agree with a bunch of shit that person does either.
Exactly. But the problem is that the people who are dissenting with this current Republican trend to support Trump as a unilateral just genius of all sorts, like. The people that dissent from that are few and far between, and the ones that are on TV are on MSNBC just because they can get them on to say that this is dumb. But the people that voted for Trump, let's say they voted for Trump or didn't vote for Trump, maybe just didn't vote, but are consider themselves conservatives, need to be a little bit more vocal and succinct, because like people love to say like, well, Democrats want to do this. I'm like, well, I'm not all Democrats. What's your exact point? And I'll discuss it with you. Like, yeah. And they don't come back at me like that. In most cases, they tend to want to stick more with a fold, and if they were to do that, I would respect the shit out of it. Like my buddy Jay, like, we did the podcast, with we started this podcast with him with the Purple Report. He's always sending me shit, like whenever Donald Trump just fucking tramples all over gun law. He's like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, hey,
yeah,
man, I didn't vote for him. You did, but I get your point. This is fuck bullshit. Yeah. More about CPAC. One of the funniest things that he did is he called out a specific journalist. Have you ever heard of Dave Weigel?
As soon as you tell me who he is, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I know who that is. I know the name. Yeah.
So Dave Weigel is a Washington Post journalist, and he a couple of years ago, like 2016, he went to a Trump rally and took a picture of the crowd, and it was like a fourth of the people that could sit there.
Yeah.
Put it on Twitter and said, like, hey, not a lot of people here. During the CPAC speech, Donald Trump busted on him. He's like, well, he showed up 5 hours before the event, apparently. I don't know. I don't follow this guy. Like, he basically said this guy's tweet word for word, said, I don't follow him. I don't know this guy. It's kind of like that ex-girlfriend you have that's totally not following you, but knows everything you did.
Yep.
And then made fun of Dave Weigel, a journalist for the Washington Post, for not flying private.
Oh yeah, that is that is one of the best examples of the type of person that he is. Because that's oh, you don't just charter a private jet? Oh, you fucking pleb. And
yeah.
how many of the people some of the people that voted for him can afford
that?
that
Room went nuts.
Oh yeah, that's fucking Jesus Christ. The stupid journalist has to fucking fly private like the rest of us. Or commercial, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
So let's put this. I just want to put a bow on this before we move on.
Yeah.
The President of the United States was making fun of a Washington Post journalist who showed up to one of his rallies, took a picture of his shitty crowd size, shared it on Twitter, and then 2 years later makes fun of him for getting there early because he apparently couldn't fly private.
Nice.
And that joke landed at CPAC.
Yep.
That's where we are right now, ladies and gentlemen.
That's fucking... Oh, God, that sucks. Because it's like... CPAC shouldn't represent all conservatives in America, but that kind of Republican is the Republican that is talking to people and representing the movement. And sucks for you guys. You guys really need to rein that shit in.
Yeah. You gotta rein that shit in. So, there you go. So, that's what CPAC was. Alright, where are we at? Right, what do we got here? Alright, we're about an hour and a half. Let's talk about one more thing before we wrap up. Make this an official 2-week wrap up, and Shay and I promise to get back to a more regular schedule, and we're both not all fucking around drinking in other cities we don't live in. I'd like to take this moment to address a couple people who have contacted the podcast to be on.
Really?
Yes. John Natty and Gatlin Greer, we have heard your requests. We will get back to you, and you will be back on the podcast. We swear. We were going to do this one a bit late for people on the Eastern time zone, so didn't want to call you guys up and have you run it late because you both have little ones. But we will get you on in good time. Actually, I think it'd be good to get both of them on and talk the Democratic field.
Yeah,
I think we're almost ready. I mean, between now and next week, Biden might declare. We'll see, but I'm pretty sure he'll fucking declare. But anyway.
Yeah, I think he will. And I'll say this right now, man. I understand all of the every single objection someone could have to Joe Biden running. I understand and probably agree with. I still think he's more electable than Bernie Sanders. If you're going to pick an old white dude to run for president, Joe Biden's more likely to beat Donald Trump than Bernie Sanders. I get it. Because, and this comes back to, people have to remember, and we can talk about this when we come back to it, but I got to say this now. Your AOCs, your Bernie Sanders, those are the guys, the people that are in the media, they're talking, they're the vocal minority. But the reason we took the House was because we flipped a bunch of fucking red seats to moderate seats. And if you make the nominee for president a super far leftist, I really do think you run the risk of pushing people the other direction. So I don't know, but we'll see. Biden may not announce. I wouldn't be shocked if he didn't. But you're probably right. He probably fucking will.
Okay. So last thing in the chamber, gotta talk about the Kush, Jared Kushner.
Oh, so good.
Got his security clearance. We found out from the New York Times. New York Times reports that Donald Trump overrid the security apparatus's failure to give him a security clearance. Because for those of you who have been living in a hole for the last, I don't know, 2.5 years, Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's son-in-law, married to Ivanka Trump, Donald Trump's first love, apparently had a lot of hang-ups getting his full-time security clearance. He had to, if I'm not mistaken, turn in 17 revisions to his initial security clearance fucking form.
Fucking nice.
All right, so clearly he muffed it up. He muffed it up good. Donald Trump said repeatedly that he would do nothing about it, even though it was in his power. Now, let's be very clear. The president's power to grant security clearances, classified clearance, is almost ubiquitous. Like, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. Donald Trump said he would not do anything about it, and he would let the security, National Security Agency take care of it. He then did something. The New York Times reports that Jared Kushner's security clearance was pushed through by Donald Trump himself. He overrid the White House Chief of Staff and the security apparati.
Nice,
and,
nice.
So he did something. Then,
I mean, they'd be cool with it if Obama had done that for one of his relatives, right?
Totally, because Barack Obama's entire family was working in the White House.
Yep, that's true.
Yep. I remember when Barack Obama did this for Melania. Malia, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Malia. She was like, "Hey, Dad, I'm 17. Let's get some security clearance." And then he was like, "Boom.
Let's do it.
You got it." So that happened. And then right after, we have the New York Times report that Donald Trump overrid that. You know, one more lie, as we've talked about. I mean, he said he would do it. He did it. He said he didn't do it. He did it. He did do it. House Democrats then issue 81 subpoenas for a broad and very pointed investigation into Donald Trump, his family, his affairs, and his companies. And we could talk about that on another podcast. But the Kushner...
it's so funny how crazy, like, you knew everybody was going to make a big deal about that, but everybody knew that shit was coming.
Oh, yeah. It was almost like, oh, okay, here it is. You know, the Republican-controlled House did no oversight whatsoever on Donald Trump at all. When the Republicans lost the House, everybody knew that was coming. Even Donald Trump was kind of petrified it was coming. And then it happened. So 81 subpoenas were issued to so many people in Donald Trump's orbit. We're not even going to go into it. We can go into it later when we start actually seeing some documents, come available. But one of the 81 subpoenas was to get the Kushner security clearance documents. Everybody wanted to know how the fuck the Kush got his security clearance. The White House refused to release those documents. Of the 81 documents, the White House came out and said they refused to release Jared Kushner's security clearance. And somebody in the White House fucking leaked those. The Washington Examiner has it. I got an article right here. Axios says it. Washington Examiner has it. They don't have the actual documents yet, but the Democratic House Intelligence Committee has those documents. So that's going to be a fucking roller coaster of who the fuck is Jared Kushner talking to and why.
Yeah, it's one of those things that pisses me off so much because it is very clear, like, if there's anybody that is going to have some reasons they shouldn't get security clearance, it's Jared Kushner's inexperienced ass. Like, oh, yeah. That guy has no pedigree. He has no experience. He's a classic fail son. And he just, like, it makes me so mad. Like, yeah. And again, I hate that, like, that whataboutism shit, but like, oh, can you imagine? Fuck. So stupid.
For those of you just tuning in, Jared Kushner's entire resume is worked for dad.
Pretty much.
And then it was worked for dad because his dad was the head of the Kushner real estate empire until he had to go to jail for tax evasion and fraud.
His dad, not Jared Kushner, right?
Yeah, Jared Kushner ran the company while his dad went to jail for several years for tax and fraud. So now Jared Kushner is the head of a multi-billion-dollar real estate company, and his sole requirement for that was his dad.
Pretty much, man. It's great.
So then he meets Ivanka Trump, whose entire resume is funded by dad.
Yup.
And marries her, and now he works for her father-in-law, which is actually, I think, a step down. That's even, like, fucking worse. But now he's this wonder kid in the White House and has no fucking business of doing any of this shit. And he talks like this, and he talks like a fucking Muppet.
Man, Jared Kushner's voice is so much higher than you expect it to be. And that's not a dig at anybody with a high voice, but, like, everything about that guy sucks.
Yeah. There was a great clip on Last Week Tonight with John Oliver where they dubbed an entire speech that actually it was the first speech, like, 'cause for years nobody had heard Jared Kushner speak, especially since he'd been a fixture at the White House for no fucking reason. And so he went out and said something about, like, when people were accusing him of being involved in this Russia deal or whatever.
Yeah.
He went out and gave some post. He's like, I have never been involved in. And John Oliver dubbed out his voice with Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh, I bet that works beautifully.
And it was like, I'm Jared Kushner.
I bet that
I've never been involved in any of this. And he just went on. And, like, John Oliver, after, like, they let him do the entire, like, 2-minute speech, he goes, you know what? You can't tell me that's not his voice because you've never heard his voice.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So anyway, so failed son Jared Kushner now has security clearance, and right after he got that, he apparently met with the, of course, the, was it SBM or SMG or whatever from Saudi Arabia?
I know, the New York Peoples.
No,
State Department or whatever we talk. I don't know.
No. The Prince of Saudi Arabia.
Oh, yeah.
Prince of Saudi Arabia, who just sawed off the head of one of our journalists here that lived in the United States. Right after that, we found out that he got his security clearance through shady means. We found out that he and Ivanka went over to meet with the SMB, whatever his name is, the Prince of Saudi Arabia.
Prince. I was gonna have to look that up, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Went to meet with him the day that Cohen was going to testify. So everybody on the planet is very convinced that they did that because they knew nobody would be paying attention. They went over to Saudi Arabia to discuss whatever the fuck they were going to discuss with a very, very easily convicted murderer.
Yeah, that's a whole great situation there with that.
That's awesome. You want to turn on your "What if Obama did this" goggle, Shay?
Man, that shit is. It's such a low bar of an argument to make, but it's such an easy argument to make because for so many years I've had the right telling me that they're the moral party. They're the party about law and order and justice. And I mean, obviously, it's always been propaganda. Or at least propaganda in my lifetime. I've never known the Republican Party to be any full shit.
Exactly.
But it's such bullshit. Like, can you imagine the shit show if fucking Barack Obama had been signing Bibles and tits?
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? Like, and then that kind of hypocrisy just boils down to show that the Republican Party, and I'm saying Republican, not conservative, because I believe those are two different things now. It's just fucking rotten to the core. It's just rotten straight to the fucking core.
The Democratic Party has its problems.
It does.
But it has not put up Kanye West yet. So. No,
and then and then you got people like fucking Mitch McConnell who are saying that making it easier for people to vote is a power grab. Like, okay, dude, like that shows a lot about your intentions right there. So
he even went farther when the House just passed HR 1.
Yep.
That would do a lot of things in a lot of states, much like automatic registration. When you turn 18, you don't actually have to register. You're just automatically registered. You can go and then change your party affiliation later. early voting and just a re-up of our voting our voting machine.
Yeah.
The process in which we elect House and Senate and presidents. Mitch McConnell said we're not bringing that up in the Senate. Like the House just passed it almost unanimously. Mitch McConnell says I'm not bringing it up in the Senate, and asked why, he says because I get to decide what we vote on.
That is his reason. That's not. Yeah. That is not a reason. That is. Well, I mean, it is. That's. I mean, it's true technically, but that's not.
Yeah. Mitch McConnell is not a Machiavellian like wonder kid. All Mitch McConnell wants to do is sit around in the Senate and put as many conservative judges in as many conservative judge holes as he can.
Yeah.
And he has no like grand like super strategy. Like I don't want to compare Nancy Pelosi to Mitch McConnell, but Nancy Pelosi is a strategist. She knows that she has to go finagle a certain thing with a certain House member from a certain state because they're in a certain precarious position because of either coal regulations or this or that. Like she has a very narrow window that she has to thread to get a bill, up and passed the way she wants it. And she knows that, and she's fucking good at it. Like whatever you want to say about Nancy Pelosi, she's good at her job, and she gets it done.
I have never said she was bad at her job. Like anyone that's arguing that is fucking full of shit.
Right. On the other side of that coin, Mitch McConnell just says, "Well, how about we not do that?"
Yeah.
Like Mitch McConnell, he's like, "I'm gonna, when you talk about like infrastructure or immigration reform or what's another big thing? Healthcare. Anything that's a big lift, that's a complicated thing that would land on his desk that he would either have to corral his Republican senators against or for, or maybe if it's something he even likes, would even want to do, that would have to work across the aisle with the Democratic senators to pass or not pass. Mitch McConnell's go-to move is, well, what if I just don't do that?
Yeah.
Fuck it. Like, what if I just don't put it up?
I really wonder what the political landscape's going to look like when Mitch McConnell's not around, because eventually he's not going to be there. The damage he's done, it will, obviously, but
have you ever seen the like the end part of Frozen where everybody's celebrating and singing?
Yep. That's what it's going to look like. What you're gonna
be, yeah. Because his go-to move is, I don't want to fucking do that.
Yeah, and I imagine even once he's gone, there's probably a lot of people in the Republican Party that'll be glad too, because he's just a fucking lightning rod of it for just bullshit. Like I can't imagine people like working under. Yeah, he doesn't care, and that's what makes him so dangerous, is that he's and let's get this straight. Mitch McConnell is not a stupid man. He's an evil man, but he's not stupid.
Yeah, he doesn't care. The fact that you think he's a hypocrite doesn't fucking take him.
Doesn't. I guarantee you that does not factor into any decisions that man makes.
No, he would love it if he could plug a conservative judge in every hole that is an open seat right now, and then when you tell him that the American public votes 89% to 11% to pass comprehensive immigration reform, he'll go, I don't really want to do that.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, and you can't make him.
Nope.
And he will sit there with no chin. Excuse me. And go, not doing that. There's not some Machiavellian scheme. Like he's not playing 3D chess. He just doesn't do the things you want him to do, and he does the things he wants to do, and that's it. Fuck off.
Pretty much. Yep. He is not his interests are not the what's best for America. That's for goddamn sure.
No. Yeah. So while I don't wish him any harm, I will not be upset when he dies.
Nope.
All right, Shay. I think we should wrap this up about now. I think we did a pretty good recap of the highlights of woo fuckery in the last 2 weeks.
Most definitely.
We will try to be more consistent in the coming weeks and months, because I don't have any other conferences to go to.
I got nothing going on. So there we go.
So you're just gonna get double barrels of all our genius whenever we throw up these podcasts. Speaking of which, you should be able to find this podcast everywhere you get your podcasts. We're on SoundCloud. We're on Google Play. We're on iTunes. We're everywhere Alex Jones is not.
Yeah, awesome. That is very satisfying for me.
Actually, and you know what, Shay? It's super easy to do that. Too.
I know.
I don't. It's super easy.
That is that is how much of a piece of shit Alex Jones is that you and I have a podcast on iTunes and he doesn't.
All right. Hit us up on Twitter. It's at WoodsCastThe, and then on Facebook we are at WoodsCast1776. As always, shoot us an email, and I swear to God, Shay and I will answer it at thewoodscast76@gmail.com. Still haven't gotten any responses that Shay is not a girl's name, so by default, you have a girl's name.
You should be more woke, Justin.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Is having a girl's name a bad thing? Or are you saying that women's names are bad?
I'm saying that you are a big, burly man that has a girl's name. I'm not making any judgment about women's names or women at all.
Just an observation of fact.
Yeah, I'm just stating my younger brother, who is a large man, has a girl's name. All right. Well, this is the point where we thank you guys for listening because we love to do this, no matter how much it annoys my wife and Shay's girlfriend.
We're using those words now.
All right.
It's taken 6 months, but yeah, we're there.
All right. So no matter how much this annoys my wife or Shay's girlfriend, we love doing it because I get to talk to my little brother. We get to shoot the shit, and it's fun. We hope you enjoy it too. As always, Shay, say goodbye to the nice people.
Toodles, people.
Just a rubber